Tonight I'd like to turn to Earl Hackett to talk about 3D printing. Welcome, Earl.
Okay, what is this thing doing to me now? Well,
That's you, Yahoo Finance, not
yeah, I know. Okay, well, I'm just going to fire this thing up. I have a model sitting in my hand here. There, okay. Last week I showed you some of this signal cabinet that I was working on. And one of the problems you have when you start working on buildings and stuff, you have brickwork and you have clapboard and you have bunches and bunches and bunches of individual parts that you're trying to model. And in a CAD system, it lets you build these things in what they call an array. In other words, you build one, okay, now make me a bazillion of them going up and down and left and right or whatever you want. And that's what I'm going to talk about today because it's really goes quickly and it's very easy to do. Now this is the cabinet, this is the prototype. This is the best photo I have of the cabinet that I was working on. And you can see it's this is all clapboards up here. It's a slate roof on top. And you have a brick chimney back in here. And those are the things I'm going to take a look at how I went about building those various components. The first thing you do, of course, is you build a wireframe model. And each layer, front and back, you put that on the individual layers. And you're going to, so here this is the layer arrangement I have for this one. Windows, front and left. There are two different types of windows. The walls are building here. It's front, right, left, and back. Chimney has its own layer, stairs. Layer one is just a general purpose, you know, whatever you have. But you wind up with literally bunches and bunches of these layers. The wireframe model is just like this. What I'll do is I'll take this might be the front, take all these wires, put them on one layer, and then you start working on it. But we're going to get into how we build the clapboards first. And one of the things that you want to do, you're going to wind up making them oversized, and then you trim them to the length that you want. And those wire frames that I showed you are the trim surfaces. We're going to use that wire frame that we created, and that will be used to trim the edges of the wire, edges of the clapboard to the proper size. And it's very important. It's one thing that if you don't do this, you'll get in trouble. Any trim has to be normal to the work surface so that you know that you're getting a perpendicular cut. So here's the front of the model. This is the we're going to surface this front, and we're going to, this is the video. Okay. Now here I'm drawing the individual clapboard. I'm going to draw a clapboard down the lower part of the thing, and it's this is a millimeter scale, and so that's 2 millimeters. So that's about 6 inches in HO, and that's about right. And I put a bit of an angle on it, cut it off. Now this thing is going to be make an array out of it. So you come over here and there's a command that says an array, and it's asking me how many do I want. And I said, okay, the first reference point, I'm going to make 50 of them. And then you ask for a second reference point, which is right there. You have all these little lines. So now we're going to go to the top view. And okay, you have to zoom in to see them, but there they are. But we'll select them. And we'll extend them. I don't know if they extrude it straight or just extrude it along the line, but we extrude them along the front of the building. Okay, extrude straight, okay. Simplified my life a little bit. So now we have this pile of clapboards. Now what I've done, on the right side of the screen, you can see some wire cutouts there. And first thing we're going to do is get rid of all the excess thing. I just said 50, and I don't know how many I need. I just said, make me 50 of them. Now, I was having a little bit of a problem here. I've said I'm not normal to the screen. And it won't, it's not going to trim properly. So I'm screwing around with this thing. And okay, and now I know what I'm doing. Put a line on there, now it'll trim properly. Just cut off the top of that there. Now let's take all the other ones here and just delete them. Delete there. Now for window and door openings, I have made some cut, a little wireframe cuts to oh, come on. Why is it? There we are. I have to use the mouse. Okay. Oh, this silly thing. 1 minute. There. Okay. Now, how this silly thing. This is escape. Boom. That did it. Yeah, okay. I got some editing to do here, folks. To save time, right? I previously cut out the wall lines and lined them up so I could center them on the wall very quickly. And here's the wall. We have a little center mark here, so we can find the middle of the wall right there. And here are the previously made cut lines. And I just take those and I'm going to slide them over and position them on the on that wall. So from that end to the middle, boom. And now we just cut these out. Boom. I want to be a little more careful now because it's if you do the wrong thing, we just highlighted the line so it knows it's this. That's what I'm cutting to. We're going to cut these guys away. Let's see, I just leave that alone. Now you have to highlight these wires and we'll just chop away everything. And I'll cut these away too. That produces the window and door openings. They're ready to go. Now, this gets more complicated. This is the slate roof. And you have to decide what the unit is that you're going to reproduce. And so you notice that the center of this slate here is lined up with the center of this space. It's about, I think it's something around 1/10 of a millimeter, something like that. It's a very small space, but the slate roofs, they did it. You could see the gaps. There were gaps between the slate tiles. And there were 3 layers of them. They were layered 3 thick. So what I wanted to do is we're going to take these 2 and we're going to make an X and Y array in 2 different directions. So here we go. This is one. And I'm just moving it around to figure out what I'm going to do with this thing. And then we'll just do, I drew one, we'll just copy it. Oh, we have to have a line. that line allows me to line the center of the slate up with the center of the, did I get it right? Yeah. That allows me to line up the center of that groove with the center of the slate. So now we're going to bring this down and we're going to make it level. So now this is going to be created in the XY plane. So now we're going to make what they call a rectangular array. And he's asking me how many do I want? And I said, okay, we're going to have 10 by, I don't know, 10 by something, bunch of them. You bring them together so the points line up like that, bang, hit enter. And now you have a roof, a big thing. You're going to have to cut that up and make it the size you want. But it's very quick and easy to generate these things. The brick chimney was a little bit more of a problem. I wanted to have scale mortar joints. The mortar joints that we're used to seeing are pretty fat. They may be scale an inch or maybe even more of an inch thick. I wanted these joints to be 3/8 of an inch, which would be a scale for most mortar joints. And the thing you're going to build from is this section of 2 layers, and the layers are so that this brick lines up on the mortar joint of the brick below it, and then we'll take this, just make bunches of copies. So we're going to start off with a standard brick, and you can find that, I don't know if I can't remember the dimension. It's a sort of a strange dimension, but it's published it's been around forever. So we're going to copy it. Now we're going to start creating the mortar joints. Little tiny thing. Now we'll take these two. We'll rotate them. And we create another mortar joint. So you can see how you're building this structure up from one brick at a time, as they say. Once you have one mortar joint defined, you could use that just to copy the others. Now just take those two and copy them. They could just copy them, yeah. Move them from there to there. So we have one layer of bricks. So now you need another layer of bricks, but what you could do is just mirror the thing. We'll select the whole business. And we're going to mirror it. We're going to make a mirror image of it. Now we go to 3D. I probably have to go to 3D to do this. We're going to move it from there to there. Now we go here, we're going to create the mortar joint. Now, there is no mortar joint, that's just a void there right now. So what you want to do is trim these back, and we're going to create a wall inside. So move that in. That's going to be the depth of the mortar joint. We have one down the bottom, one at the top. That's this line here, this line, this line, this line. So now we highlight them, and now we just trim everything inside. Just chop it all away. There were some things that were not cut, they were just there. So we just highlight them, get rid of them too. So now what we'll do is we're going to create a surface, and then we'll take those lines that we just used to chop it with, those two pairs, and now we'll extrude them straight. Yep, extrude straight down to that point. Now we have your mortar surface. Now you're going to take all of the, going to highlight all the bricks, and we have to, one thing you have to go, because as I mentioned last week, you can't have naked surfaces and that kind of stuff. And that's what we're going to get rid of. Right now, these have 3 edges on each, 3 surfaces at each corner. So you got to cut it down to 2, or else you get the non-manifold surface. So you go around chopping them all out, clear everything. And now you have your unit brick structure. So take the whole thing. If you're smart, you'll join it so you can't make a mess of it. And now you just copy it from there to there to there. You make as many copies as you want. And you just keep going until you're happy with it. Next time, we're going to talk about match plate molds. I think someone is going to be talking about using 3D materials, 3D printing to make molds. And I've been doing that for a number of years. But what I found was this match plate technique really works slick. So we're out of there. One minute. All right. I like to get my camera back up, but I can't.
Well, Earl, I really enjoyed your presentation tonight. I learned a lot. I still don't think I'll be able to do it, but I see exactly what you're doing, and it doesn't seem that hard.
You know, that is the nice thing about CAD work. Once you learn the programs, and like you said, I'm using maybe 10 commands total. And once you learn to use those and manipulate things, it goes very, very quickly. This is the model I was working on. I've started painting it. Here's your, put a little fancy embellishment on the top of the chimney here. So, you know, they did fancy brickwork back in those days. And here's the roof, clapboards are all on there. And if it works out, I'm doing an experimental window glazing. And I've always tried that. I always try different ways to build things. And if that works out, I think you'd be very interested to see how I do these windows. I put the glass in. I don't know if it's going to work, so I'm not going to promise anything yet.
Well, we'll look forward next time to seeing it.
All righty.
And I hate to say it, everybody, but I don't think Paul is going to be here this evening. I'm not sure what happened. I'm sure he had an emergency and couldn't make it. So he will not be here this evening. And I'm really sorry about that, because I was looking forward to finding out some information about casting. And Earl, since you just mentioned that you can do it, we may just have to ask you to keep going for a while and include how on earth we do castings in your presentations.
Oh, we could do that.
That'd be great. I appreciate it. Well, I'm afraid that pretty well concludes the show that I thought we were going to have this evening. But I see that Clark Cooning, MMR, is here now. Clark, earlier I mentioned that you had not wanted to send your photos in for security reasons of some sort. And I didn't understand what the problem was, and was trying to get somebody maybe to volunteer to come on the show and explain what the problem is. whether we as modelers should be really concerned about what we're showing our photos on the show. And if so, then obviously you have a solution to it. What is that solution, and how do we use it? Maybe Clark's not here either.
Well, he's here, but his camera and mic are off, so his computer might be on, but there's here comes there he is.
People, the hockey game is on. Are you crazy?
What, you're not fishing?
No, that was earlier. And not only that, but we're getting a big thunderstorm here.
Yeah, we're getting a big one rolling in here in a minute too.
Okay, well, listen, Clark, you don't have to do anything tonight. That's fine. But I am still looking for somebody that can come and talk about this for a little bit and try to put it in perspective and let us know if this is something that we could worry about. And if so, what do we do about it to protect ourselves? So I'll kind of leave it at that because I don't want to interfere with the hockey match. I'm sorry. So next time on Saturday, July the 3rd, I'm going to talk about building in brass. I've had some of you say you keep talking about building in brass. We don't know how to do it. So why don't you tell us how you do it? Well, I'm going to try to do that next time and try to show you how I consider it to be awful easy to do and something that you may want to try. We're also going to have segments with Dave Silvernail doing his scenery. Alex Brinkley building a structure of David Woodhead's Watch Me Build. He's going to build a Don Winters steam-powered cement mixer kit in O scale. And of course, I have a question. So I think it'll be an interesting show and something a little different. Please visit our website, New Tracks Modeling, keep up with what we're doing and find out what's coming up and what our plans are. Send me an email if you have any comments and suggestions for the show. And again, thanks so much for coming tonight. Hope you really enjoyed it. And I hope you learned something more important than anything else. So happy modeling until next time. Thank you so much. And Ed, we're finished.
And we're in the clear.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Apparently we have some new people on tonight, so I don't know if they want to introduce themselves.
Please do.
Okay, Tom, since you may be a new guy, you're on the air.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear
Yes.
Okay, good. I'm Tom Grossman.
you. Thanks, that's enough. No.
Okay, well,
Yeah, the
see ya.
recording button is still blinking on my computer. Are you really off?
Well, the thing is that I'm off of Zoom. Earl is doing